Hello, distinguished friends and colleagues. This is Stuart Hamilton, the Pro-Life Activities Coordinator for the Archdiocese of Louisville, Kentucky, serving under Deacon Stephen Bowling. And this is 5 Minutes for Life, where we take 5 minutes to discuss one topic, one ministry, or one event that affects the pro-life movement here in the Archdiocese of Louisville. Well, as I mentioned last week in my last video, I did take a quick trip with my family down to Florida. Got a lot of sun, got a lot of rest, and I was clearing my head on how I wanted to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Dobbs versus Jackson. That's right, June 24th is the 1-year anniversary of the Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade and returned abortion back to the states. Now, I had this whole plan in mind. I was going to celebrate a little bit, reminisce a little bit about where I was when I heard Dobbs versus Jackson had come down and all that good stuff. But we have been granted a great gift. This month, June, is the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and I think a miracle has been given to us. Yesterday, June 20th, Kentucky Right to Life reported that EMW and Planned Parenthood have voluntarily withdrawn their lawsuit against the Kentuckiana trigger law. This is tremendous news for us in the pro-life community. If you recall, there were 3 major lawsuits, one on the buffer law, one on House Bill 3, and the last remaining lawsuit was against the trigger law itself. The other 2 had been dropped, and we were waiting to see on June 28th what the lower courts were going to talk about when it came to the trigger law lawsuit. But now we won't have to wonder because EMW and Planned Parenthood have withdrawn the lawsuit. Now, I want to explain a little bit about what the reasoning was. Why did they withdraw the lawsuit? If you recall, back in February, the Kentucky State Supreme Court ruled that EMW and Planned Parenthood lacked appropriate third-party standing. They were claiming that they were standing up for a third party, women who were harmed by the trigger law, and the Kentucky State Supreme Court said, you can't stand up for them. You must present a woman who has been directly harmed by the trigger law, which they couldn't do. And they actually had a deadline to produce such a plaintiff. Okay, June 20th. Well, June 20th came. EMW and Planned Parenthood had to admit, we have not found an appropriate plaintiff, a woman who can fit the criteria for having been harmed by the trigger law. So then they voluntarily withdrew the lawsuit. So what does this mean? Is abortion over and done with permanently in Kentucky? Well, not exactly. Back in February, in that opinion by the Kentucky Supreme Court, they wrote this, quote, to be clear, this opinion does not in any way determine whether the Kentucky Constitution protects or does not protect the right to receive an abortion. They also wrote, nothing in this opinion shall be construed to prevent an appropriate party from filing a suit at a later date, unquote. Now, the ACLU and Planned Parenthood have already put out public statements saying once they find an appropriate plaintiff, they will refile a lawsuit. But for the time being, we can rest easy. We can take a deep breath because Kentucky will be abortion free. Now, I should mention there is one other lawsuit that is against the trigger law, and it was filed back in October. 3 Jewish women are have filed a lawsuit against the trigger law on the basis of religious freedom. It's a kind of a strange argument. They say that the trigger law is biased towards Christian theology on the basis that, in their reading, Jewish theology has never claimed that human life begins at conception. Now, there's not going to be a court date. The court date that's set for this is in November, so we won't know how this progresses until then. But I think they're going to have a hard time proving their case, given there are many Jewish theologians here in Kentucky and nationally that would probably contradict their reading of Jewish theology. In any case, we'll keep our eyes on that, and for now, we can celebrate because this is a major victory for the pro-life Christians in the pro-life community here in the Archdiocese of Louisville. It's going to give us an opportunity for the foreseeable future for all the pro-life and respect life groups, regardless of where they're coming from, to come together in radical solidarity and reframe our ministry. We'll be able to keep our eyes out for that poisonous weed of abortion not to rise again in our legal system. And it's going to help us to really focus our energies where they need to be focused, on the women who have these emergency pregnancy situations and they need help. So that's all the time I have today. I'm so grateful to be able to share this good news. If you like what I'm doing, please smash that like button. Please share this video with others. Maybe hit the notification bell to know when new videos are coming out, and check out some of these other videos that I've made. Okay, God bless you, and remember, every human life is worth fighting for because every human life has dignity in the eyes of God. We'll see you here next week.